someone? Okay, well, we'll go ahead and get started. And if they come, they might be late. So we'll save spelling and see if they're going to get here. So I don't think I got any papers from anyone about friendship. Who did that?
I did.
Have it in front of you. Who did their essay about friendship? Samantha, do you want to read yours out loud?
Friendship. Intro. Friends are awesome. They can help you with school. They are fun to hang out with, and some you have known since you were little. I'm going to write about Taylor, Ruthann, and Olive. They are my closest friends. Friend 1. I've known Taylor ever since I was 3. It has been hard to hang out because of cheer and school. She goes to public school, and the only times we can hang out are on Saturdays and Sundays. Our favorite thing to do together is crafting with paper, hot glue, popsicle sticks, and glitter. Taylor says glitter calls to me. Friend 2. I met Ruthann on the first day of first grade before I got pulled out, and now she's homeschooled. My favorite thing to do with Ruthann is play outside. Friend 3. I went to Canyon Grove with Olive. Me and Olive are great friends. We are always in a group together for projects. We eat lunch together. Conclusion. Friends are fantastic. They always have your back, and some are kind, funny, brave, smart. So go outside and make a new friend.
Great job. Then you talk to your reader at the end, right? So it's like friends are great. So you should definitely go make some friends. All right. Did anybody else write one of those this week?
I did.
You did? Did you send it to me?
No, I forgot to.
Okay, so you guys have another week for this. So let's look at that assignment again and look and see. Samantha did a really good job showing you an example. It followed this format. We have an introduction, and then the introduction is going to end with naming off your friends. It's going to start with just saying some nice things like friends are great to have in life. They cheer you up, right? So that's just general information about friends in general, not talking about your specific friends until you get to the body. Friend 1, friend 2, friend 3. And then conclusion, again, you're going to say some nice feel good stuff. They will always be there for you. Family can also be good friends. That might be better in the introduction because it's like introducing a new idea instead of just wrapping up all the ideas. Friends are an important part of life. So your last sentence should sound like a sprinkle, right? Where it's just like, bing, the end. And then once you write your paper, so like Samantha, you could cross these out so you don't have your headings on there. It is good to write with those to make sure you're following an organization. But then after you have your essay written, you just take those out. So I want to tell you guys how important this is. And it's really cool that you're learning it now because I have some students in middle school and they didn't learn this yet. And so they give me papers where there's 5 paragraphs, but it's just like you're having a conversation for 5 paragraphs. And they're all scattered, right? So 2 different paragraphs might both talk about one thing, but then they might also mention other things. So it's just totally scattered, right? So when I have students that come to me like that, then I have to take them back to this and they need to learn their organization. So, okay, I also want to say, so I mentioned a lot of times they might give me a paper and it sounds like they're having a conversation. So how is writing a paper different from just having a conversation? There's a couple different ways. Anyone have a guess? One thing is when we talk, we might stumble on our words or we don't know what to say. So we pause and we say like, or, like that, for instance, what I just did. I said, like that, right? So I wouldn't say that in a paper for sure. And so I really like writing better than speaking. Like I don't mind public speaking, but I usually write it out first because then I can really think about my words and it's not just like random stuff coming out of my mouth, right? And then another difference when you write, it shouldn't sound like a conversation because it should sound more organized, more thought out, maybe some better vocabulary words, But when I talk, I don't usually use impressive vocabulary words because I'm just saying whatever comes out, right? And when we talk, we might forget that we had something to say and be like, oh, I'm back on this other point. So when we talk, it's also very scattered, right? But when we write, if we forget something that we should have said earlier, then we just click back earlier and add it to that paragraph, right? We don't have to say, oh, I forgot to say, right? And I've actually read an essay before where she said that. She said, I forgot to say earlier. And it's like, well, you're typing on a computer. You don't have to tell me you forgot. Just go back earlier and put it there, right? So that's another reason it's really good to learn how to type. So handwriting is great when you guys are about this age. You should be transitioning, learning how to type. Thank you. You should be learning how to type because that's one really good reason. If you mess up, you just go back and fix it, right? You don't have to be like, oh, I have another thing to say for paragraph 1 and there's no room. So how do I squeeze this in? But that's what I had to do when I was in school. Computers weren't invented till I was in 9th. I mean, they weren't like in your homes till I was in 9th or 10th grade. So I did all my papers by hand and I had to rewrite them to make them look nice. So you guys feel like you can do this essay this week? Does everybody have friends or does anyone need a different topic?
I can do it.
Okay, Alexa and Zach. I have other people I'm not looking at because your cameras are off.
So I missed class last week, and so I thought I already did the homework for this class, but then
Oh.
it turns out I didn't. So
Yeah, when you
yay.
miss class, you'll still need to look at the emails and see what the homework
Yeah.
is. All right, but no problem. You guys can have another week. Natasha, did you want to share your paper?
No.
Okay, you don't want to share. All right. Well, then we're going to move on to spelling. We have this week and next week, then we'll be done. And we got these long words covered that we jumped to the end so we can get them. Did anyone study their spelling words? Yeah, Zach did. Zach prints off the study worksheets from the website. Okay, and some of you probably have other spelling words that you do at home with your mom. So this is still a really good exercise even if you didn't study, but these are longer, so they're going to be harder today. There's 20 words. Okay, guys, everyone ready? Okay, word number 1 is within. Like, within the circle, there is a square. Within my heart, I feel love, right? It means like inside of something. Within. Number 2 is method. There's a method to her madness. Have you heard that saying? Or like Suzuki piano method. Method is like a plan, a reason why they're doing what they're doing in a certain order. Number 3 is breeze, like a light wind. And number 4 is calm. I feel very calm today. I was stressed before, but now I'm very calm. Oh, there's William. Number 5 is irritation. I always feel a lot of irritation when I have to do my math. Or when I have to babysit. Number 6 is section. A sectional is a couch with lots of sections. Or a band has a woodwind section, a brass section, right? Where common things can gather and be together. Number 7 is devotion. If you have devotion to something, you are loyal. No, there's a lot of shun words at the end, right? And we talked about this last week, I think. They were all the same this week. There's no, oh, nope, there's one that's different. Okay, most of them are the normal shun, which is not a S-H-U-N like my daughter used to do. But there's one that's going to be different. Okay, after devotion, number 8, we have infection. Infection is where bacteria grows out of control and then you're sick. Or it might be pus if it's on your skin.
Where is Eden?
Oh, she's doing something else right now. And number 9, are we ready? Let me know if I'm going too fast. Occasion. A special occasion. It's a holiday. Number 10 is dictionary. So this has a shun too, but it's in the middle of the word. Dictionary. Eleven is digestion. William, I'll give you the first 5 words quickly at the end. Oh, I gotta be typing these in the chat box. After digestion, we have disruption. You are causing a disruption in my class. Don't bring toys to school. I had a teenage girl that would bring toys to school and play with them. I had to tell her not to do that anymore. All right, next, number 13 is invention. And next is prevention. They sound like they should be related words, but they're not, right? An invention is something that you made up, that you invented, and prevention is trying to make something not happen. And 15 is suggestion. I have a suggestion to make. Okay, then we have 5 special words. If you were doing the worksheets online, this combines with like a social studies, not a course, but social studies worksheets. And so it was about your government representatives. So here's some 5 words that have to do with your local government. Okay, 16 is elected. This person was elected by 70% of the vote. And number 17 is official. They are an official for the state, or they are the official representative that I need to contact. And that's the next word, contact. If you have a complaint and you want to communicate to the government, you're supposed to contact your local representative. There's someone who kind of works over your neighborhood, and they're supposed to communicate and keep people happy and represent what you want.
What was word 18?
Contact. "19 is represent. If they represent you, that means they're supposed to be doing things that you would do. They're supposed to be acting on your behalf.
I
right?
wrote representative. Oops.
Oh, that's good. Then you just added a few extra letters. You made it harder for yourself. And district. I'll put representative on there. That one's actually a hard word because it's not exactly how it sounds. Representative is how you spell that one. Okay, look over your list. Look at all the shun words. Make sure they're all the same except for one. And now I can tell you the shun words are T-I-O-N, right? So you should have one word that's not T-I-O, and it says it's still shun, but it spells it differently. What's the word? What's the odd man out?
Number 9.
Occasion. Good job. Okay, there's all the answers. Check your answers. William, the first 5, you can probably go fast. Or number 1, within. Don't look at the answers, William. Within. And then method. Breeze. Like light wind. And then calm. And irritation. Okay, right in the chat box, how many you got right? Studying is really paying off for you, Zach, isn't it? Your spelling's really improved lately, the past few months. Been lots of practice with your spelling. Who else feels like their spelling has improved? Alexa?
Mine's still bad though.
It's still bad though. I've had kids where I don't have to do any spelling at all because they read a lot and they just naturally learn how to spell. And then I have kids where we have to do spelling every day, like it's more important than other language arts stuff. All right, did everybody write their score in the chat box?
I'm
No.
doing it right now.
Next year, we're gonna do something a little bit different for spelling. I found these books I really like. Is this the one? Where it's called Spelling Workout, but it also has vocabulary and writing practice. Everything's all in one book. And so you're learning how to spell words, but you're also learning what the words mean. And I like how it's all together in one thing. So next year I'm doing that for all my classes. Did you guys get the shun words right? We've had a lot of those lately, so we've been like kind of talking about them every week. I never knew how many there were. We've probably seen 30 of them.
Yeah.
Okay, looks like everyone still did really good. You guys got over half right by far. Samantha, how'd you do? Did you put yours in the chat box? Okay, is it a secret? Do you know how to use the chat box? And Quentin, I didn't hear from you. Okay, we're going to move on now, and we haven't done this in a few weeks. Do you remember we are going to edit? There's a little essay someone wrote and has 4 paragraphs and is telling you all about robots, but they made a lot of mistakes, so we need to help them out. So if you guys have your annotate button on your Zoom, click on that. You should see on your black bar, there's a little pencil. Zach found his. Yep, Zach's doing on Alexa's doing it on side. All right, don't do too many extra markings because then the page will get really busy. So we need to, let's read it together first, and then we can mark what is wrong with this, all right? Who does work that people don't do? Robots, that's who. Robots are machines that have computers inside them they can move. They have sensors that let them see, hear, and touch things. People program robots. The robots then do their jobs. Robots drill holes, spray paint, and put together cars. Wow, that's a lot of work. Okay, what mistakes do we see? And if you don't have your annotate, you can just say it out loud and then I'll mark it. Any mistakes on the first line? Who does work that people don't do?
What?
There's no mistakes there. Who does work that people don't do? Robots, that's who. And we're missing something there, right? So someone needs to mark. Good job, you're already starting to mark things, and I'll check everything that you guys are marking. Okay, a lot of people gave us a different paragraph, a bit different period there. Robots, that's who. Robots, so now we do need a capital on robots because it's the beginning of a sentence, which you couldn't see before, but now we can see. So how do we fix that? There we go. Robots are machines that have computers inside them. They can move. Okay, we have a mistake there. Thank you for the period after them. Is that a period or a comma? It should be a period. So let's just make sure that's a period. And we need a new sentence. They can move. What do we do with a new sentence? We capitalize it, right? So capital T. Careful with all the extra markings, please. William, take that back off. It gets in the way. They can move. They have sensors that let them see, hear, and touch things. Good job putting commas there because we're listing things. They can do 3 things: see, hear, and touch. So we need commas. People program robots. Only 1 B. Good job. The robots then do their jobs. Robots drill holes, spray paint, and put together cars. Again, we're listing something, but now it's like more than 1 word each, right? Wow, that's a lot of work. The exclamation point on wow is okay, because wow is an interjection. You're like saying a word with some emotion there. But we have 1 more thing we need at that last sentence. That's a lot of work. Does anyone see what we need on that last sentence? Yay, robots. What do we know on that last sentence? That's a lot of work. We have a contraction, but there's no marking to tell us it's a contraction. Where is it? Thank you, Tyson. Good job. Okay, I'm going to delete all of those. I'm going to go to the second paragraph. Do robots, whoops. Can you take that off, William? Okay. Do robots help with disasters? Yes, they sure do. There was an accident in a nuclear power plant. The building wasn't safe for people. A robot went in, cleaned up the mess, and came out safely. Have you ever seen a fallen building? Robots can look through the rubble, find victims, and signal rescuers. Okay, this is a great thing to edit because I see some of you guys do this a lot when it's like 1 long sentence, but we need to break it down. Like, where can we put a period? There's too many thoughts in a row without a period and a capital letter, right? Remember, you can just shout it out if you don't have your annotate button. Everybody should be participating. That's so interesting that robots can go do jobs when it's not safe for humans to go in. They can have robot firefighters next. Okay, the exclamation point
That'd
after
be kinda
power
cool.
plant is kind of optional, so that's fine. If you want to make it like there was an accident in a nuclear power plant, right? Then you'd have an exclamation point. And we got the
You
contraction on
have
this
to do an
one.
exclamation point for that.
Yeah. Okay, does everyone know the word contraction? Like this, when we're making two words into one word and we put a little apostrophe there, right? So good job catching that. We're done with that. Now, how do robots help the space program? Astronauts couldn't go to Mars, but a robot did. It collected rocks, read temperatures, and took pictures. A robot camera is now looking for life on other planets. It takes pictures, records information, and sends it all back to the scientist. Goodness, that's a big job. I don't know when this was written, but we have a lot more artificial intelligence now. Goodness, that's a big job. Some more help on that sentence. Good, contraction there. And goodness, we can do a comma, probably a comma. If you're super happy, you can also do more exclamation points there, like goodness, exclamation point. It's a big job, right? But we'll just go with the comma. All right, good job on that. You guys probably need a harder one, huh? Okay, last one. What other hard tasks can robots do? Robots can go where people can't go. They crawl into volcanoes, take samples of gases, and examine the smoke. Robots dive deep in the oceans, look at strange creatures, and record temperatures. Gee, that's dangerous. Aren't you glad we have robots? They crawl into volcanoes, take samples of gases, and examine the smoke. It's listing 3 things, so we need commas in between each one. Good job. Gee, that's dangerous. This is the same thing as before, where we have an introduction word there, and we want to separate it. Gee, comma, that's dangerous. Aren't you glad we have robots? Okay, there's another contraction we need to mark. You guys got the 2 other ones. Yeah, a lot of contractions there. Good job. We got everything. All right. Now, do I have here? Okay, we're going to look back at these vocabulary words. Probably need to make this small again. We worked with these before, and I want to come back to them and see if we remember them, right? And then maybe give you more of these fill in the blanks. Tedious means something is mind-numbing, boring over and over. This is a very tedious job, right? Like this sentence here is tedious. The job was very blank, doing the same thing over and over. So that's tedious. A tedious job is not a fun job. It's boring and you feel like a robot, right? Because you're just like doing something over and over, not really thinking very hard about it. What's a plight? Do you understand the plight of people who live in poverty? Do you understand the plight of immigrants, right? Do you understand what they go through? Do you understand their trouble, their bad situation? And if someone is steadfast, it means they keep trying, they're focused, and they're determined. Waning We talk about this with the moon. Like the moon has a waxing phase. Waxing means getting bigger, and then waning means getting smaller. But you could also say, my interest in this subject is waning, or my desire to go do this thing is waning. Like I'm losing something that's getting smaller. If someone is vulnerable, you guys probably know that one, unsafe and helpless. If someone is listless, they feel sad and unmotivated. If someone is irate, they're very angry. If someone is indignant, that's another way to be angry, but it's like you're angry for a certain cause or a reason, like something that you're opinionated about, and you can't believe this happened because you felt like it should not have happened. Like in your opinion, this was immoral or this was unbelievable, right? So it has something to do with your opinion, which of course anger usually does anyway. Apprehensive means nervous. Okay, so I need to make these smaller. Okay, what's this? The second sentence here before I take it away. The kids were in a blank this afternoon, alone in the forest with no adults.
A plight.
Good.
The job was very tedious, doing the same thing over and over.
Okay, what about this? He felt blank, going to a new place. Going to a new place he'd never been before.
Apprehensive.
Yeah, you would feel apprehensive if you're going to a new place. What about, these are all feeling words, huh? He felt blank. Telling somebody about his feelings.
Nervous.
That would also be a nerve-wracking situation, maybe. But there's another word we use for when like your feelings are exposed and people can kind of see
Vulnerable?
parts of you that are not strong.
Is it vulnerable?
Yeah, you're showing where you're not strong. You're showing your weakness, right? When my kids brought mud in the house, I was
Irate?
irate. Very angry, but it's not necessarily for a specific cause, right? I have been blank and studying for math, and now I got good grades.
Tedious?
Steadfast.
Dead fast. Okay, maybe you would
Oh.
think it's tedious because you were doing it over and over. But tedious also shows that you're not enjoying yourself. It's kind of boring. But in this one, I didn't really say if I was enjoying studying or not. It wasn't about if I was enjoying it. It was just the fact that I kept doing it, so I was steadfast. So there's a difference of that. What else? I'm running out of room. Oops. Let me make all these smaller. Okay. I was really interested in horseback riding, but now my interest is what?
Waning.
Waning.
Waning?
Mhm.
Waning.
I'm so tired today. I don't want to do anything. I feel if I'm not motivated.
You feel listless.
Yes, thank you. What haven't we done yet? We have one word left, so it must be that one, right? When she found out the endangered animals were being hunted, she was indignant, huh? So now she has an opinion. It's about a cause, right? Okay, now it's your turn. Get on the chat box and give me a sentence about each of these words. So I'll make them big again. And this is typing practice too. So you're gonna go, somebody sent me something about plight and then send it. And then something about steadfast and then send it. So we should see lots of different sentences just popping up. And we're gonna have a little potpourri of vocabulary examples coming through the chat box. You can also, well, after class, and we'll also send Alexa your email if you want to have a group chat. Okay, go to your chat box and type sentences.
What? What is it?
You guys might want to work on typing this summer, like on typing.com.
I use TTRS.
Oh, I
Touch, type, read, and spell. Yeah.
Good, Zach. I was so irate because my biking was so hard. I'm going to be steadfast in finishing this class. That's a good point, finishing, because if you're steadfast in something, you see it through till the end, right? Apprehensive about moving, that's a good example too. I talked to my mom about my plight with soccer. Like maybe you have a bad situation going to soccer, you don't know what to do, then yep, you would have a plight and you'd have to go talk to your mom about it. Steadfast in school, good. I watched the moon wane. And if you're just going to say the word wane, then it's W-A-N-E. I was very irate because no one helped with the dishes. Good example. We were in a plight when we couldn't find the car keys. Yep. I felt vulnerable while camping. Good example. Like a bear might come to your tent. Huh. I don't think about bears camping until there's a sign that says, don't leave your food out because there's animals that come out during the night. I'm like, what? There's animals that come out during the night? I felt vulnerable when the big cat screamed and jumped at me. Good. So he felt unsafe. Very vulnerable in spelling. That's another example, right? It doesn't have to be physically unsafe. It could be like, oh, now my weakness is exposed, or I feel like I might not be able to do it. listless about homework, like you're unmotivated, you don't feel like doing it, then that's good too. My brother makes me irate. Good. Listless in math. Next time your mom tells you to do math, just be like, Mom, I feel listless about this. I'm just gonna go lay in bed. Sorry, I feel listless. I was indignant when my brother made my room a mess. Good. We'll just do another minute. So everyone do one more sentence. I'm apprehensive for the first day of school. I'll be steadfast in my love for my dog. That's a good example too, because steadfast doesn't have to mean working to accomplish something. It could just mean you're loyal and it's not going to change, right? That reminds me of a poem by Robert Frost. Okay, we're going to go to our workbook now. We're almost done with this workbook, and whatever we don't finish, you can finish at home. I think we're about done. We'll see. Okay, so now we're on page 89. All right, so everyone has this book except for Samantha. So this one, you kind of have to go back and forth flipping your page because it goes together with the next page. We'll see if there's a way to get you involved, Samantha. So they give you 3 paragraphs and you're going to finish the paragraphs.
What
And
page?
89. So this is all about bats. So they give you the topic sentence and then blank lines so that you can fill in the facts. And then they have all the facts at the end. So you read the facts and then decide what topic sentence they go under, right? Does anyone else not have their book? All bats belong to a group of animals called mammals. Then we have the 1,000 species, the 1,000 different species of bats are divided into 2 main groups, megabats and microbats. I'm glad they're giving us the facts because I would have no idea what to say about megabats and microbats. Bats are nocturnal creatures and fly at night. Okay, so these are 3 different paragraphs. I'm going to indent each one because it's forming the beginning of a paragraph. And then I'm going to put my facts in there. So let's see what facts. So Samantha, you can do this with me if you want. Anyone else, you can write it on your page or participate with us. While they are young, their mothers feed them milk. Which paragraph does that go under? I didn't hear that.
The first one.
Yeah, because it's about being a mammal, right? While they are young, Mothers feed them milk. When the bat hears the echoes, it knows how far away something is. Well, that one's tricky. I feel like that's going to come after a different sentence.
Under the third, maybe?
Yeah, because it doesn't fit the other ones. I'm going to put a mark there and come back because maybe it needs to go after a different sentence. When the sound waves hit something, they bounce back as echoes. See, now I'm going to put those aside. We'll come back to the echoes. In fact, bats make up nearly 1/4 of the world's mammals. Where does that one?
Under the second one?
Right.
paragraph?
And I'm going to put it in between those because it's still introducing the fact that they are mammals, and then we'll explain why they're mammals, right? Bats make up nearly 1/4 of the world's mammals. Wow, that's crazy. There's that many bats on the earth that they're 25% of the mammals. Mammals have fur and their babies are born alive. So it sounds like we are defining mammals now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. When you said the babies are born alive, I was like, yeah, they would because they otherwise
know,
they
it's
would be
always
born
weird to talk
dead.
about live birth, and I'm like, well, it's not like birds' babies are born dead, but it's like they're born in a egg
Yeah.
and then they have to hatch, right? Yeah. The megabats live in tropical regions and eat mostly fruit.
The second paragraph?
Yep. And I assume they're bigger.
I'm staying in this for you.
Bats' bodies are covered with fur, and baby bats do not hatch from eggs. They are born alive like puppies and kittens.
That
The
sounds
first?
better.
Yep, it's talking about being a mammal, so it goes into the first one.
I don't want to do this. I want to.
So this is easier typing too because we have to put them in a different order. Like in this first sentence. In this first sentence, you can see it tells us that they are mammals and that they comprise a big portion of it. And then they define a mammal with those two sentences. And then we explain how bats fit that description. Right? Yeah, mammals have fur and da da da. And then we say, well, bats have fur. They do not hatch from eggs, they're born alive, right? Some bats use echolocation to navigate through dark caves and forests. I think that's the sentence we were looking for. Where does that go?
In the second one?
I think that's what we're looking for as far as how they know where they're going at nighttime.
Oh,
Because you remember it's telling us all about echoes, and we're like, I feel like that comes after a different sentence.
that makes sense.
Okay, bats are nocturnal creatures and fly at night. Some bats use echolocation to navigate through dark caves and forests. And here's the next sentence at the end. As a bat flies, it makes high-pitched sounds. The sounds spread through the air in waves. High-pitched sounds. And then we can go back to the ones that we had at the beginning. When the bat hears the echoes, it knows how far away something is. When the sound waves hit something, they bounce back as echoes. So I think that one's first. It knows how far away. Oh, okay, we have our paragraph about nocturnal echoes done. We have our mammal paragraph done. Now we had another sentence about microbats. Microbats are small and eat mainly insects, as many as 3,000 in one night.
Whoa.
I feel like I still want more information about the megabats and the microbats, but that's what it gave us. Okay, so now we organize it all. We have 3 nice paragraphs full of information about bats. If this were a real essay, it would be missing a couple things. What is it missing still? I have 3 body paragraphs. Each one has a nice topic sentence at the beginning of the sentences, at the beginning of the paragraphs. All right, the topic sentence tells me what that paragraph's about. Although I'm not totally happy with this one. Bats are nocturnal creatures and fly at night. I would add, like, I feel like there needs to be a bridge here that tells us they can't see, right? They can't see at night. I mean, they probably can't see at all, but they can't see. And then it tells us, well, how do they know where things are? Then it describes all the waves and the echolocation, right? So this is my own thing. I think we need to add a little bridge there into why we're talking about echolocation. Okay, what are we missing? We have 3 body paragraphs, but we want a 5-paragraph essay. So what are we missing? Remember what it's called? That comes at the beginning?
Introduction.
I can't type. Introduction. And what's the word for the paragraph that comes at the end?
Conclusion.
Yeah. So here's an option. If you don't want to do the friendship essay, you can do this instead. Think of an introduction about bats and a conclusion for bats.
Okay.
So the introduction and the conclusion are not going to give me any specific facts. It doesn't talk about these things. It just talks about bats in general. Or the introduction, actually, it almost sounds like this part. Yeah, no. Okay. The introduction could be, sometimes the introduction could be about even something even bigger than bats, and then it narrows down to bats, and then your essay's about bats, right? So something bigger than bats, maybe you would talk about strange creatures, you know, animals that we don't usually think about. I won't say rare, because apparently they make up 1/4 of the world's mammals, which I did not know. So you can think of a way to talk about strange creatures, and then you go, bats are really interesting creatures, and that would be called your thesis sentence. And then it leads you into the paper about bats, right? So the introduction is like really general. It's leading you down to your thesis sentence where you just tell them what your paper's about. Bats are very interesting animals. And then you would see how it flows to the next part. All bats belong to a group of animals called mammals, right? So you're general, and then you narrow it down to a thesis sentence. The thesis sentence tells you what this paper is about. And then everything else is a detail that's going to back up why are bats interesting animals, right? And the rest tells you why. Okay, any takers who want to finish that for their homework? Or are you guys going to do your friendship essay?
I'm gonna do the friendship one.
I'm pretty sure I sent my friendship essay to you.
Okay. You might need to look again, or I'll be in touch with you. Okay, that's all for today. We'll see you next week. Do your friendship
Thank
essay.
you.
You can either read
Tomorrow.
it to us next week, or you can send it to me. All right.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.